everyone, it's Raquel of Raquel's Caribbean Cuisine, and today is going to be another pudding recipe, Jamaican cornmeal pudding. Yes, and if you have never heard of it, just stick around and I'll show you how it's done. It's an absolute favorite, plus it's vegan friendly, extremely delicious. This cornmeal pudding calls for some rich coconut milk, but before we extract the coconut milk, just go right ahead and quench your thirst with this coconut water. Now I'm going to remove the coconut from its shell. I'm going to cut into small pieces. I'm going to add that to the blender with some water, and I'm going to blend until smooth. So now that we have extracted some rich coconut milk, I'm going to give that a strain. And bear in mind, you could definitely use the coconut milk from the can or the pack, which I find it's easier. Yes. So here I have the freshly blended coconut milk, and to a bowl I'm going to add 4 cups of that. And even though I'm using fresh coconut milk, I'm also going to be using 2 cups of coconut milk from the can or the box, which I find is a bit creamier. You could also use some evaporated milk or any milk that you find is rich in texture, or you could just use only the coconut milk. So plenty options to choose from. Now to this 6 cups of coconut milk, I'm going to add 2 cups of sugar, some vanilla essence, some almond and rose water, and some melted butter. Or you could add vegan butter, or you could even add some coconut oil. Then I'm going to give this a nice mix. Also to this, I'm going to add some cinnamon powder, some mixed spice, and some freshly grated nutmeg. I'm going to mix until everything is nicely incorporated. Loads of spices, so you know this cornmeal pudding is going to be flavorful and very delicious. Now you could give that a taste, and when I tell you, this is tasting so good. So now that all the wet ingredients are nicely combined, I'm going to put that aside. Now it's time for the main ingredient. Now to a separate bowl, I'm going to add 3 cups of refined cornmeal, along with about a 3/4 cup of flour. And the flour is used as a binding agent to bind the cornmeal together. Now in with some salt, and remember the coconut trash that was left behind. I'm going to add a tad bit, which is optional. You could definitely exclude that. It just gives it a nice texture. Also, I'm going to add some freshly grated ginger. The fresh ginger gives this a really nice flavor. Now I'm going to mix that. Now I'm going to add the coconut mixture, and you want to mix this until it's nice and smooth, but I'm going to leave back about 1 to 1.5 cups of the coconut mixture to pour over the pudding when it's almost done, giving it that sweet, wet custard top. You want to make sure this is nice and smooth, no lumps. And lastly, I'm going to add some raisins that was soaking in some rum, which is also optional. And to an already greased pan, I'm going to pour the mixture in, and to a preheated oven, I'm going to allow this to bake for about 45 minutes or until it's nice and firm. So while the cornmeal pudding is baking to this leftover flavorful coconut mixture, all I'm going to add to this is a bit more sugar. That's it. The custard on top of the pudding is normally sweeter than the actual pudding, making it even more delicious. 45 minutes later, the pudding have firmed up nicely. I'm going to pour the mixture on top and back in the oven for another 20 or so minutes. Exactly 1 hour later, this cornmeal pudding looks amazing. Not to mention, smells absolutely delicious. I'm going to allow this to sit and cool down for at least 1 hour before cutting into it. This right here is perfection if you should ask me. Jamaican cornmeal pudding. Normally it's done outside over wooden fire. It's cost efficient, it's filling, it's satisfying, it's just amazing. The texture was just perfect, not to mention the sweet custard on top. A full written recipe will be listed down below in the description box. I just want to thank you so very much for watching.